When you see someone attractive, it's easy to chalk it up to good genes. Consider the well-known attractive actor Brad Pitt. It's no surprise that his parents were also fairly attractive people in their heyday. But while genetics dictate how you look and how attractive you turn out to be, there are other factors that contribute to whether or not you appear good-looking to those around you. Can you pinpoint why you find a person's face attractive? Look at these two pictures. In the first image, you see a boy with an attractive face. In the second picture, you see a boy who looks a bit different, with a less defined jawline and a slightly hooked nose. Which boy do you think has a more attractive face? Sure, this may sound a little judgmental, but this is simply a test to see which face you're naturally drawn to. It's probably the first one, right? One of the biggest differences between these boys is the positioning of their jaw and their general face development. And while genes determine the way your face looks and develops to a certain extent, a lot of it has to do with the positioning of your tongue due to environmental factors. For example, a person may be born with a perfectly defined jawline, but over time, the development of allergies could force them to suffer from a constant stuffy nose, causing them to breathe exclusively through their mouth. While doing this, their tongue could thrust against their teeth in a way it hadn't earlier in their life. Over time, this habit could reshape the face enough for there to be a noticeable difference. For whatever reason, people tend to find certain jawlines and mouth positions more attractive. If a person isn't comfortable with their particular jaw shape, they have the option of turning to something called orthotropic treatment. This treatment was first developed in 1966, and according to doctors John and Mike Mew, its purpose is to achieve proper development of the face. People with overbites and underbites, for example, may seek orthotropic treatments to change the way their face develops and looks. This treatment can also include the adjustment of how a person uses their tongue, lips, and jaw in daily life. Orthotropic treatment is possible because some of the bones in the human skull can move over time. Believe it or not, your skull isn't made of just one solid piece of bone. The bones in your skull are held together by fibrous joints known as sutures. And the bone of the upper mouth is connected to the rest of the skull with these joints, making it possible to move and develop differently even well into adulthood. In simple terms, using orthotropic treatments, doctors can manipulate the face into looking differently. So what kinds of things are involved in these treatments? It's hard not to imagine a doctor in a white lab coat coming at your jaw with a needle, saw, and chisel like in a horror movie. But don't worry, orthotropic treatment is nowhere near that scary. While it depends on the patient's specific situation, things like braces, muscle exercises, retainers, and other mouth appliances can help redevelop a person's facial features over time. A lot of it has to do with controlling the way your tongue rests in your mouth. In other words, they can help promote better oral posture. But Dr. John Mew suggests a super simple solution to moving the bones of the face to have a better functioning and more attractive face. He calls this the tropic premise. Sounds complicated if you ask me. However, it's actually quite easy to do, and you don't even have to go to the doctor's office to do it. Dr. Mew says you should rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth while your lips are closed and your teeth are ever so slightly touching each other. Doing this with your tongue 4 to 8 hours a day can effectively change your face's functionality over a number of years. This will, potentially, help you to appear slightly more pleasing to the eye. Hey there, eye candy! While correct tongue posture can significantly affect your outer appearance, there are other facial traits that, according to science, help you turn heads when you walk into a room. Facial symmetry. There have been many different studies done over the years that indicate many people tend to find symmetrical faces more attractive. One interesting study that proves this to be true was based on identical twins at the University of Queensland. In the study, researchers tested if symmetry had anything to do with what people found to be attractive, and they tested the attractiveness between two twins. The twin with a more symmetrical face was consistently favored as more pleasing to the eye. So what is it about symmetry that gets us going? Well, ThriveGlobal.com says that scientists think that people are attracted to symmetry because it symbolizes good health and good genes. However, there are times when asymmetry catches the eye. For example, many celebs are considered quirky or charming because of their asymmetrical features, like Milo Ventimiglia from This Is Us. People can't seem to get enough of that endearing, crooked smile. looking older. What do couples Amal and George Clooney, Olivier Sarkozy and Mary-Kate Olsen, and Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart all have in common? No, not a rockin' bank account, although they probably all do. I'm talking about their significant age differences. All three of these couples, and many others both famous and not, feature a younger woman and an older man. Back in Scotland in 2012, Abertay University revealed that many women preferred men of an older age with access to resources. 3,770 women were tested in an online survey and asked which men were more attractive based on looks and good financial prospects. While the results weren't overwhelming one way or the other, there were a good amount of women who favored the older, financially successful men. Some researchers have referred to this idea of younger women being attracted to older, successful men as the George Clooney effect. While each case is different, these studies seem to prove that many women prefer older men because of their secure status and access to resources that come with age. But I'm pretty sure having good looks has something to do with it too. Familiarity. Have you ever noticed that you are more comfortable in familiar surroundings? Like your childhood home or a restaurant you've been going to for many years? The same can be said for judging if someone is attractive or not. Turns out, if you find familiarity in someone's face, you're more likely to find them good-looking. Well, according to the researchers behind a 2015 study in Current Biology, there's reason to believe this to be true. They discovered that genes may not have everything to do with determining whether a person is attractive or not, since environmental factors have a strong influence as well. In the study, a pair of identical twins found different people attractive, leading researchers to believe that they weren't entirely genetically predisposed to feel a certain way, although this does play a small part. Their past experiences seem to be quite influential in who they found attractive. In the same vein, some researchers believe that if a person looks like your parent of the opposite gender, you're more likely to be attracted to them. But that doesn't mean you're looking for someone who looks just like one of your parents. That would be a bit weird. Researchers from Prague and Sao Paulo examined whether or not physical attributes influence a person's preference when it comes to finding a significant other. The volunteers, who were specifically women attracted to men, were asked to pick from a grid of silhouettes of different men who looked most like their ideal partner, their actual partner, and their father as they remembered him from childhood. That sounds like a tricky test. In straight women, the study revealed that they were more likely to pick a body that looked similar to their father's when it came to finding an ideal mate. Of course, this was typically the case for women who had good childhood relationships with their fathers. Perhaps it also has something to do with the familiarity theory I mentioned earlier. Pretty interesting, isn't it? While you can study what people find attractive all the livelong day, it ultimately comes down to the individual. Based on your genetic predisposition, your life experiences, and general preferences, you learn who you find physically attractive, and there's no wrong answer to that. And if you don't find someone attractive, that's okay too. But you should never pass judgment on them or treat them any differently just because you don't necessarily find them good-looking. Can you pinpoint what you find physically attractive in a person's face? Share this video with your friends and see if any of the theories mentioned hold true. If you love learning new things, subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. And remember to always stay on the bright side.